chains up. I hope you're all happy. Welcome back, as ever, everybody, to Building Blocks, where we program Minecraft mods live on camera. And today, at very long last, we have been talking about them for months. We're actually going to be looking around and working on the changelings, because legit, we've made entire systems for procedurally generating their hives before we've actually implemented them. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So if I hop over here and just quickly refresh the textures, because I just finished a bit of work on those. And when Minecraft realizes it exists, there we go. Okay. So here we have a changeling in its native state, its bipedal native state. It feels a little bit too horse-like to me there, but you know, Dusty, that's a little bit forceful there. But yeah, gonna try and make the wings are currently constantly fluttering. Gonna try and make that an actual incidental thing. So more like, you know when like a fly lands and it just like flutters occasionally? That's what I want those wings to be doing. Is the changeling gonna be able to shapeshift? Sort of. Let's see, faction set, changeling, 100. Very little in here is what it seems. So if you are on very good terms with the changeling faction, they will not hide from you in that fashion. But everybody else just sees their hidden form. Et voila. That is the first thing I managed to get them to do. Now obviously there are some flaws with this right now. The like some mobs require quadrupedal forms and the model isn't quite perfect for that. And you can kind of see exactly what I mean when I say they're a little bit too horsey. But yeah. Anyways, for 220 channel points, of which I earn absolutely no revenue because Twitch hasn't figured that part out yet. I'm gonna be doing that a lot this night, aren't I? But yeah, I'm gonna try and squeeze out the sheep changeling over here is the funniest example, because the sheep wool is its own layer, so it doesn't get replaced or fixed up. But yeah, my teacup's gonna be empty before the first hour. Are you suggesting that I should not like? Are you suggesting that I'll be drinking a lot of tea, Pura? Because I don't see a problem there. Part of you wants this mod with custom NPCs and make a D&D mod pack. Funny you should mention that. This mod actually was originally created to work with custom NPCs and whatnot, and more player models. And literally the first thing that we created was in fact kobolds. So here we have a baby zombie kobold called Baby Trans for reasons. So like literally the first thing that we put in were kobolds. They're very cute. And this was our kobold that we used for testing conveyors, and then we'd finished testing conveyors. So I gave her a nice little, like, tank? I don't know, I don't know what you call, like, an enclosure for, like, lizards. But, yeah. But we have a whole freaking ton of stuff these days. Because we're on, what are we on, like, version 5, I think? Main version 5. And it's just like, yeah, we've got a lot of monsters in there, very heavily inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. So, yeah. Watch this at the kobolds, but stop watching and returned now. Oh yeah, you've missed a lot. Like, people kept asking for out-of-the-box functionality, so I started adding things. And it might have gotten slightly out of hand. Just slightly. Also, geez, my green screen there is really bugging out, it's weird. But, yeah, so we're currently working on changelings, we have their hives plotted out, we have the creep sorted out, that kind of thing, but it also obviously needs the changelings themselves. And this fine personage leaving the trail of, like, floral difference behind them than the Terami? Okay, thank you. Is responsible for them. That is essentially their god. But yeah, so they don't have a full texture. They only recently have an actual like model. A Tarrasque would be awesome. Tarrasque is drawn from French mythology, but I think the Tarrasque, as we know it inside D&D, is actually copyright. So I don't think I actually could do that. Would certainly be entertaining though, I'll give you that. More like parents. Yeah, both of them. All of the parents. But yeah, so we got these guys. So the first thing that we want to do is tweak the scaling a little bit so that their sizes fit a little bit better with what they're actually like impersonating. Because right now, as it is, the pig changeling and the cow changeling are actually identical in size when they're rendering as such. And like the horse changing and the sheep changeling are also the same size. And we want to actually make them like vary in scale, so that you could theoretically be able to distinguish what kind of changeling like it is based on the sizing and as such. Hug Carol? I did get a few different like requests for hugs, so hang on one second. We will hug Rose here, who is very soft and tiny, but also very anxious. I think Rose might have like anxiety problems, but otherwise, here we have Carol, our perennial like stream buddy. But okay, right. To work. So, step 1. Make the actual, like, rendered changeling model, which is the same model reused for everything, including quadrupeds, be correct to the scalings of the actual original creature that you're replacing. So let's start with pigs. And then we can potentially implement changeling chickens, which is also a thing. So basically everything just extends off of the creature that it's resembling, which means that a pig changeling has all of the properties of a regular vanilla pig, a sheep changeling has all of the regular properties of a vanilla sheep, a horse changeling has all of the, like, you get the idea. You can even trade with the villager changelings. Like, that's entirely plausible and something you can do right now. Huh? The second one? What do you mean the second one? Put the prizes way too cheap. I also haven't put any for months. Like... yeah, what? Oh, the second channel points thing? Quick Q, ask me a question, in short. But yeah, I think the metric is that people gain about 220 points per hour. So, sure, you guys have been around for months, but somebody who's just coming in can still enjoy by, like, spending relatively little points. That's the idea. Anyways, that said, there is literally no gain for me out of channel points currently. They're just there. But okay. Render Kobold should have the code I'm looking for, I think. Yeah, the pre-render codec. There you are. And we have... yeah, doubles if you're sub. Feel free to sub. How would your D&D character respond to this? You see a giant gold pouch flying into the city you're in. When it lands, you hear the rattling of bones as 10 skeletons. What? Befuddled, I think, would be the answer. Can I put static functions in here? I don't recall. Yes, I can. Hurrah. Java's not that strange. Okay, changeling. So, it's all determined by their attitude here. So if it is at helpful level or not, then if you reach helpful level, which is, I believe, 61 to 100 points of 61 to 100 points of reputation with the changelings, then they will be visible as their true forms and as such. And that would be attitude.helpful. That said, of course, if you complete the Patron Pact, the Warlock Pact with the Witch, which was the tall personage that we saw there, you automatically start with helpful level of attitude, with a helpful level of reputation with the changelings. So, consequently, if you're a witch warlock, then you automatically see everything. But if you're not, then they just look like what they're pretending to be. Until you accidentally accrue enough, like, reputation with them, and consequently, oh no! Which is, I can see so much fun happening with that. I think, yeah, let's just add a little other thing here. Hey, Cam. Made some pancakes? Ooh. I tried to find some pancake mix, like, pre-made today, and apparently, for some reason, very few places in town actually have it at the moment. It's very strange. Not because it's, like, sold out. Apparently, basically, nobody got any. You know, 90% of your family is going to simply have changing bases. A decent chunk, yes. But I can just imagine that, like, somebody chucks various oddities or whatever into their mod pack just blithely, and then, like, somebody makes a, like, YouTube series, and then suddenly there's a lot of screaming when their, like, collab partners see what's been going on. That kind of thing. Like, I can see that coming. Come on, I know you know that exists. Nope, apparently you don't, actually. Let's see, changeling... Should get changeling attitude. Where are you? There you are. Player. Changing cannot be resolved. What? Now it's weird. Have a D&D sort of class system in place. No. I've avoided being to the level of adding character sheets and all sorts to the systems just so far. That may happen down the line, but I think it'll be an optional thing that you can enable or disable based on how you want to play. Because there's the unfortunate fact that if you define that somebody can only do something if they're in a certain thing that they picked way early on in their play session, then people are gonna get annoyed. Like, currently, anybody can cast spells, but they need to have, like, an item that does so. So there is a concept of a caster level, but it's not actually scaled at all at the moment. But yeah, if it had to be, like, you must be a wizard to cast this spell, and the system just randomly selected what your class was at the start of a given, like, world, then you might never get to cast your favorite spell. Or if you want to play a, like, brutal fighter and whatnot, and it decides that you're a sorcerer, then you might not enjoy quite as much, and you might just, like, what's the phrase? Save scum. You just roll a new world, essentially. Dusty has a question? Oh. So why can't we check that? It's public, it's static. We should be able to see it. I have spelled this correctly, yes. Let's see, we want entity, changeling. Where is a changeling stored? Entity.passive, that's where you are. Well, that seems to have almost fixed it. There you are. Okay, yeah, that's weirdly fixed it. If you're in a server and you unleash the changeling, does it do it everywhere, if that makes any sense? Sorry, I think I'm trying to get the idea of what you're talking. Okay, when you're progressing through the witch, like, pact, when you're going through that particular thing as a warlock, there's a little marker in your player data that is storing every point you were, every location that you were at when you progressed it to the next stage up. And when you hit it, like when you peek out and you hit the top level of that, there is what is called an endgame event, which is what happens when you fulfill the plan of your mysterious patron. In the witch's case, it places a changeling rift to the Feywild at every point where you progressed your pact, including that last one. So that's where chunks get immediately loaded, and where hives begin immediately being built. It also spawns a few initial, like, changelings, just to be on the safe side. Okay, so if I changeling dot leap, come on, changeling dot should reveal Minecraft, okay, Minecraft. Leap, not debug FPS. Very different thing. And we want entity living base in. And that also wants to be entity pig, because otherwise it'll just never get called. Going to bed? Okay. Night, Nick. Okay. Why do I get bipeds engine and quadrupeds in here? Oh, because I didn't change that part, that's why. We'll need one of those. We have kobolds and kobold factions, the workings of changelings and changeling factions. It appears there'll be other races and factions. There already are, in fact. There's the Lim, who are mysterious nomads. And then we also have goblins. Goblins are also their own faction. I'm planning on implementing a whole bunch of them with a relatively freeform, easily manipulable faction system, and such. It is incredibly easy. You'll note that for this checker here, I'm not actually just plugging in the changeling name, even though I got it right here as get faction name. That's because using MBT data, you can actually create sub-factions. By changing the MBT data of a given mob, you can change what its faction is. Now, not every creature has a faction or even reacts to your reputation with a faction. For instance, if you have a dirt poor goblin faction reputation, you can still interact with a sheep that just happens to have that faction as well. So consequently, there's limits here. But if you do have very poor reputation with, say, kobolds, they won't trade with you. If you have very good reputation with goblins, they won't attack you on sight. That kind of thing. But well, it also goes in the opposite direction. So if you have a particularly bad reputation with kobolds, they will attack you on sight. And there are certain things that will cause even friendly factions to attack you. For instance, breaking eggs. Yeah, that's a thing. Okay. So now we need to figure out what the relative scale is of our changeling model to the mob that we're actually disguising as. This is going to be a case-by-case kind of thing. All this talk of factions and data is making me think of messing around in Bethesda games with the console. You can, like, every faction has its own distinct reputation value. And they're not necessarily, like, 100% one goes up when one goes down or vice versa. So you can be on good terms with goblins and kobolds. That's entirely possible. Which can be quite useful, because you can tell them to stay away from each other. With the conveyor belts and all, it makes sense Warforged will be there? I don't think so. We have conveyor belts here in the modern world. We don't have robots with intelligence walking around. Do you make friends with everyone? Yeah, it's harder with some than others, but yes, you can. Oh, and Burr's telling me to hide, right? Okay. Fine by me. Okay, so We hope just normal beings, we are not bad parents, said we can have fun. Yeah, basically. Points to Asimo and Spot. Do you see them on our battlefield? That's where Raw Force is supposed to be. Can you take enchantments off stuff in 110? I don't think so. I think Grindstone's 114. But okay, so currently we've set it to be 80% scale. Which is fairly close, I think. I think drop it maybe 20%. Going to update because it really does. Yeah, it hasn't. Okay. So yeah, by using the interface of iChangeling, we're able to have a variety of different mobs that all count as changelings, even though none of them share an actual like root class. So there is a entity changeling class, but it's specifically for the changelings that aren't disguising as something else. Everything else just extends from the actual class that they're impersonating, and consequently, they're able to actually qualify as all of those things. So if a changeling pig ends up in, say, your pork farm, your pig farm or whatever, it will not interrupt regular behaviors at all, which is pretty nice. Would putting normal pig next to changeling pig help? Probably a little bit. The trouble is getting them to stay still. Raising fun of Warforged the conveyor belts was just imagine your underground factory where the conveyor belts would spawn. Where the conveyor belts would spawn normally. They're included as part of the dungeon update. There's a lot of different blocks that were included as part of the dungeon update to facilitate the making of complex traps and dungeons and such. That might be a little on the side of too small, I think. It's almost chicken-sized, I want to say. It's getting there, though. Let me just dial that up a bit. 10%. And I've lost him. Where's he gone? There he is. I mean, I think that is definitely close. Yeah. So let me see. We've got... Let me go check out exactly what kind of things we've got from the dungeon update. We've got the conveyor belts, we've got the guillotine blade, or the falling blade, I think it's more officially known, but it's referred to as the guillotine blade. We've got gears, which are one of my favorite things in this mod. We've got big locks, we've got braziers, we've got sconces, we've got pots, which you can hide in, which is very entertaining, suffice to say. So, whole ton of stuff, really, for decor as well as mechanism. Frequently both. Baby changeling? I think if you have a baby, like, they'll breed and they'll generate a child, offspring, so I presume that baby changelings will be even smaller if you do that. Anyways, yeah, I think that's about good for you. And yeah, just for ease, let's actually build ourselves a little pen for different kinds. Owlbear Cleric? I don't currently have, like, plans. Surprisingly, I feel like I probably should have plans for owlbears. I don't, currently. And to that. There. Okay. Pig. So there's pig, and there is changeling pig. And if you give them both the breeding tool, I forget which one it is, you can in fact breed them together and they'll just produce a normal pig currently. And cow. I don't plan to have every single mob be something that you can, like, have them, like, disguise as, but a lot of the vanilla ones especially, definitely. Let's see, and sheep changelings. And horses. The bipedal ones I think are good enough, currently. Let's see, so we've got horse and horse changeling. Squid changeling? Have I forgotten anybody? There's the sheep, the pig, horse, cow, yes, villager, yeah, and this regular changeling. Okay. Okay. So now we actually have full comparison. Hooray. I think horse needs to be a little larger, actually. Sheep a teensy bit smaller. Cow might be sort of similar scale to the sheep, I think. Okay. Got it working for one. Let's get it working for the others. Minotaurs, owlbears, rocks, so I can think all you can think of that don't have a real faction in D&D. I mean, technically speaking, anybody can have a faction in D&D. Like, there's as long as they're an intelligent species, there's not really anything stopping them from being, I work for this dude in dungeon, and he give me food whilst I punch people that come near me. Like, that kind of thing. That's fairly easy to come by. I haven't quite gotten to the level of programming that AI yet, but nonetheless. Hey, mage. Okay, so let's go to, let's see, we've got, let's do horses. Horses next. We are currently working on changelings, which is a mob that can perfectly simulate a different mob. Okay, so if we should reveal, then let's see, we said that horses want to be a little bit larger, don't we? So let's go to that. Accidentally closed Minecraft trying to hit the next page in NEI. Oh no. If not, Warforged about the 1T. I am still going back and forth on how to actually make snake tails and such in modeling. It doesn't look ridiculously out of place in Minecraft. Because these mobs are highly complicated and can do a lot of things, but they're all meant to be visually more or less within the same, like, scheme of Minecraft. And so consequently, it's a question of how do I make cubes look like a curve? Like, I want them to look good, but I don't know if I can necessarily. Okay, and let's also do cows whilst we're here. So cows, what I want it to be, was it smaller or larger? I think it was like slightly small, say 90%. And a dragon tail, but smaller. There's a lot of cubes in that. I've tried to keep the cube count relatively similar. Oh, I've just realized I've completely hexed that up. It's never going to call that function because it's not looking for one with cow or horse. There we go. Nagas? The Nagas from Twilight Forest? Those ones? Or am I thinking of something else? Dusty, I know you have points. How do the Ender Dragon wings work? What do you mean? Like they flappy. And then they just turn off gravity for the Ender Dragon, essentially. Okay, perfectly normal set of livestock. Zounds! Deception. Anyways, yeah, I think that's decent size. I think that's a decently comparable scaling for the pig changeling right there. Per is referring to the part in the Flux, but his live streams where Simon spawned a bunch of Nagas. Like how did they? I have no idea. Okay, horse. That is pretty close, but I think I'm gonna bring the horses slightly down. The quadruped model still needs some work, but yeah. So let's bring that to 110%. And the cows. That looks about right, actually. Cows look to be about right. Or at the very least, the cow value looks to be about right for sheep. So, at the very least, let's conk that into the sheep coat as well. Okay. Reboot and see how it does. Pulls out all the bestiaries for Pathfinder. Oh boy. Yeah, I have, I think, 5 different monster manuals for D&D 3.5, so I've got a lot of options. Obviously, I can't use all of them, because some of them are just legitimately copyrighted, and if I tried to do that here, then I would be probably sued very quickly, because Lord knows Watsy is powerful. Dramatically more so than me. Sorry, Dusty, you crashed the server? Because I hadn't heard of such. The server doesn't actually alert me when it crashes, it just crashes, and then somebody has to let me know. Yeah, Twilight Forest has been really hurting the patron server lately. Server's fine? Good to know. Oh, a test server. Okay. There's a server for this? There is a server with a version of this. Obviously not this version I'm working on exactly right now, but there is a server that has, like... there is a patron server that you can subscribe to over at Patreon at patreon.com/lying. Get a bunch of behind the scenes and all sorts of content there as well. And the patron server does have a version of various oddities on it. Yeah, I think that's decent size right there. Yep. I think sheep needs to be smaller. I think sheep is about the right size as well. Horses, yeah. Okay. Now that we have that working, there remains, I believe, only one more kind of changeling to add. And it's probably the one that's going to cost you the most reputation. Because we need chickens. Of course we need chickens. Patreon? Yeah, the only way that I make money. Literally, this is my job. This is what I do. So, okay, adding a new kind of changeling, relatively straightforward. So, entity, changeling, chicken, capital C chicken, capital C chicken, there we go. And we need to implement a changeling, and extend out of entity chicken. That is currently all that we need in here, because we haven't identified anything specific that the changelings will do. There's a question of exactly how far I want to deviate them from just regular, regular entities and such. Like, if I give them giving them just a AI task to occasionally go visit the nearest hive, the nearest changeling hive around the rift, and do all sorts of weirdness. It's gonna be weird if that's something that overpowers their native AI. So you just see, like, half of your chicken farm teleporting out of their enclosure to go and, like, go to this weird random, like, moss-coated place, and then just start doing a strange demonic ritual for some reason. It's like, But okay, so, that gives us the changeling, and now we need a renderer, which is more or less the same as all of these. Do we want the do we want the chicken changelings to be bipedal or quadrupedal? Why are my cows doing the Macarena? Yeah. Like, a villager changeling, just like occasionally wandering off to one of these places, is odd enough, but livestock doing it is just an entertaining concept. You imagine seeing an army of humans swinging their swords at what look like butterflies. Well, that's the entertaining thing, is because, like, there's a limit to how deceptive I can be. Whaler, for instance, will just reveal basically anything. There's almost no way that I can perfectly ensure that nobody knows that a given changeling is a changeling, but for the most part, if there isn't a mod like that in Function that just identifies by its mod what a mob is when you're looking straight at it, then you've got like a subsection of the population of a given multiplayer server that have completed the Witch Pact and therefore unleashed changelings and can see what the changelings actually are, and then everybody else just sees them as livestock and villagers and all sorts. And it's just like, okay, you have to like coordinate everybody else to murder all of these things, should you so desire, but only you can actually see what they are. So basically everybody just goes on a killing spree. Another redeem for a hug, Carol? Okay, it's fine by me. I feel like Rose might be feeling a little underappreciated here, but you know. Okay. Changeling chicken seems about right. I'm gonna drop the scale down to 0.5. I don't know if that's gonna be right. I'm also gonna go bipedal for right now. You don't have a hug, Rose? I mean, feel free to specify if you want me to hug Rose instead. We want to see a D&D Minecraft server with a player being the big bad evil guy. We have some pretty powerful spells. We also have some, like, we have one or two items that are unique to various oddities that aren't in a D&D reference book. So, for instance, the one that I think is the most recognizable is the Disembodied Heart, which I will show in a hot second once I've gotten all of this just plugged in. Get that second one. Need to show Jimmy off? I don't know if I've restored Jimmy to functionality. It's been a little bit of a while. Okay, so that should be all ready to go. Let's see how we do. There's D&D in space? Yeah, Spelljammer. I remember Spelljammer. That was a wild ride. God, normally time flies tonight. I don't know why it's, I feel like it should already be like 11:30 somehow. And yet it's not even 10 o'clock. Found a disenchanter mod? Oh, that'll help. There's definitely a few mods that'll like let you take specific enchantments off of items, but I think the only way to do it in 1.14 vanilla, of course, is just the grindstone. Okay. How OP did I make a 3.5 character? I don't know how to even, like, form a basis for that, really. Okay. Maybe a little smaller, but I think that's pretty good, actually. Yeah, just a teensy bit, like, say 5% or so. But yeah, there we have it. Now, obviously, I need to fix up the, the sheep changeling that we can see over here. But, yeah, and now I also need to fix up the quadruped model, obviously, as well. But basically, all of this looks pretty decent. But yeah, I've made some absurdly powerful, like, epic level characters for D&D. And because they extend from the actual, like, vanilla code, you can happily just write them, share them, all sorts. Jimmy is non-functional. Jimmy exists in the code, I just don't know if I can activate it properly. Like, it's supposed to be relatively easy to get Jimmy, but I don't know if I can activate him properly. So... Did I make Boulettes attack anything? There's a question. I'm just gonna come all the way over here to be on the safe side. Hi there. Because I'm pretty sure there's an is Jimmy function in here somewhere. Markings, tunneling, can pick up loot, crystals, species, left-handed. I'm not currently seeing an is Jimmy in here. So, let's just name him Jimmy. Could you sit still for me? Okay, you are now registered as Jimmy. And if we then make your age... yeah, we'll make your age Jimmy. Negatives indicate childhood, I believe. What is your current age? Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. God, finding all of these values is such a pain in the neck. Age, 0. Okay, well let's say... age negative 200. Is that better? Yep, there we go. It's a very big Jimmy, but we do have a Jimmy. What is the maximum, like, early age of a boulette? Let me quickly check. Let me see. A boulette's max age before actually being... Where are ya? Where is my code here for this? Oh, this is gonna take me a while to find. Do I have like a function that's just like set Jimmy? I swear that was a thing I coded. Yes, I do. Haha. That just changes the age though, unfortunately. There we go. There we go. Max age, negative 9,600. What is Jimmy? Jimmy is a sort of in-joke. It's a way of creating a non-hostile boulette. Because regular boulettes will try and eat your face quite horrifically. But if you catch them when they're juvenile, when they're little babies, and you name tag them as Jimmy, you get this fine fellow. Who are obviously identified by the fact that they say Jimmy, and don't eat your face, as previously mentioned. There's currently no way to breed them, but I do know that there's at least one person that really, really wants to. Why Jimmy, though? It is a reference to Pokemon. Because early on in the, like, design phase of the, like, the model, it greatly resembled some Pokemon. I don't even remember which Pokemon it is. It's like a green cubic creature, like insect creature. And it makes a noise in the anime that just sounds like, Jimmy, Jimmy. So, we added Jimmy. Hey lads, how you doing? Anyways, pardon me, Jimmy. Oh god, why does it feel like I'm leaving a dog home? No, I don't think it was Cypher. One of the later editions. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I can't contain Jimmy, but we'll try. Plonk Jimmy in here with Gilgamesh. There we are. That's one hecking... Yeah, I figured as much. Willet's main thing is they can tunnel through terrain, so it's a little hard to contain them. Yeah, I'm sure I've, like, tweeted it at some point, but... Yeah, Jimmy, it will doubtless not be there by the time we go back. But okay, so we've got the different, scalings, I think, correct here. These changelings are looking mighty fine. So, quite happily, just hiding out there. Charger book, was that it? And as I say, all of the original functionality is preserved, so we can happily trade with a changeling villager, that kind of thing. And we'll probably be adding some more later on. But, next thing. Okay, we've gotten our we've gotten our changelings to be proper scalings, and to properly disguise as specific mobs. Next question. What kind of behaviors do we want to put into them? The obvious thing that we want to have is entity AI visit hive, for instance, where they just find the nearest changeling hive and like try to navigate to it. That's going to require some long distance, potentially. Entertain me with your wily modding ideas while your nursery and flame science isn't decaying. Oh, poor Lance. Yeah, obviously we need a proper texture. I am quite happy with the model. I'm not 100% certain yet where I'm going to give them like a xenomorph tail. Or like move the head back a bit on the neck so it's a little bit more xenomorphy, because they seem a bit too horsey to me. Which, given their model design inspiration, is not too terribly surprising, but it's a bit too close to a threshold I prefer not to be crossing. So, who knows? But okay, let's start with just our vanilla changeling, as it were, our undisguised changeling. The undisguised changelings will have a disguise, it's just currently they only have the changeling model. They're probably going to try and look like people. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so we need to bear in mind basically everything here is going to need to extend out of entity creature in order to actually be able to identify what we're working with for the AI, but shouldn't be too difficult. At least there's a fifth leg. You're not wrong. For those of you who don't know, by sheer virtue of the way that Google image search works, the changeling model is heavily inspired by a fan art of changelings from My Little Pony that was definitely had some degree of xenomorph inspiration, but also was, well, to put it mildly, hung like a horse. So, that's why you're not seeing me texture this thing, is because I'll have to have that image just off to the side the whole time. And that would get me booted from Twitch quite happily. Well, I say happily. It will get me booted from Twitch, that's for sure. Why did I not have safe search on? Because I'm pushing 30. Was that not an obvious one there? Did not need that mental image in your tired sick brain. Apologies, Lance. It could be worse. I could actually message you on Discord the image. I won't, but I could. Sticks? Yes indeed. So I'll be back in about 10 minutes, everybody. See you then. And welcome back, everybody. So, just as we left off there, we're beginning to implement our very first actual thing here for our changelings, and we need to do a couple of things here to get this working. The first thing we need to know is, where is the nearest hive that we can visit? Do we have a stored hive that we are ostensibly parented to? Do we have a means of reaching that hive? Are we capable of just teleporting at the distance? That kind of thing. So, there is that. Also, yes, Para, I'm not going to implement the yellow minions from, like, Despicable Me. That's not happening. No. For a variety of reasons, not the least of which they're horrifying, terrible things, but still. Although horrible, terrifying things are usually up my alley. Either way. So, in order to ask whether or not we have a parent kind of like hive, we're going to have to implement that feature into iChangeling, because this is the code that is actually available in all of the different changelings. Otherwise, the changelings are just completely separate things. We've created a class, but we don't necessarily have a family, as it were. So, we need some values here. And probably a, how do I put this? We're gonna need a data value. Probably a block position, because that seems like the most obvious thing. So, public default block pass get parent hive plus return null for right now, or actually just make it that. So we'll do that, and about 6 different things will complain that I've just created something that is unfulfilled. And yep, there it is, right there. Every single changeling that we have implemented thus far. Does entity changeling not? Wow, there's an irony. The undisguised entity changeling does not in fact extend from changeling. Okay, can I give iChangeling a data value? I wonder. Probably not. But let's start here. So, data watcher, data serializers, I don't believe has a block position, but let's hope. Let's find out. Well, block state, byte, variant, float, string, text, item stack, rotation, optional block position, and block position. Fine by me, I'll take that. Is there any reference used for this? I'm assuming turtles use this nowadays. But obviously this being 112 code still, we don't actually have access to turtles. So get data manager. Beanie Baby Fox just stares endlessly into your soul. No, yours is lovely. Don't be so mean. Oh, I need to register, not set. That's the one. Register parent rift with blockpos. No. Okay. Wasn't talking about the was talking about the fox with the giant eyes. Oh yeah, I think I know which one you mean there. They're hard to miss. Okay, and that is one of them fixed up. Obviously we need to do that for all of them, or this code will not even launch. So, bleh. Where'd you go? There you went. I think it's entity init where everything else usually does its stuff. Yeah, that's where the data manager gets registered. For oddities, it's actually its own separate function, so it's easy to find. I don't have to worry about overriding something. This is why it would have been wiser to implement one type of changeling fully and then implement others lying, but you had to be a show-off. It was a nice show-off, to be fair. Okay, that should be all that they need for the moment. And then in iChangeling we can ask if it has a hive position based on whether or not get parent hive is null. Pride go before a fall? I imagine first there's the oh heck moment, but yeah. Okay, so if the changeling equals null, then just return false, because that means we don't actually have the access to the data that we need. Nothing should ever be given this task that isn't a changeling, but just in case. Why is a raven like a writing desk? I haven't the foggiest. But I know what you're referencing. Marsh. Firstly, language. Secondly, why? It's the Tumblr post? I've never seen that post. Poe wrote on both? Poe wrote on ravens? It seems unpleasant for the raven. We've both seen about Peter there. Okay, now, benefit to all of the hives being built around Feywild Rifts is that Feywild Rifts chunk load, which means if you unload a world and then reload it or somebody goes too far away from it, we still know where it is. We know where all of the rifts are. That theoretically has some performance issues later on, which is why I made it so that if a rift would be placed near an existing rift, then they actually merge and become one bigger rift. So it tries to keep them as small as it can, but obviously there's a limit to that. But parent, look what we all can change into. Yes, I know. Okay, so for tile entity, tile in the mob.worlds.loaded tile entities. If tile is an instance of the tile entity rift changeling, just the specific class that we're after. Shouldn't need to have a separate value for this. Okay, so either the hive position hasn't been found yet, or the distance to it from the mob is higher than the one to this particular tile. But okay, that gives us, potentially, hopefully, an actual hive location. Next question. Now that we know where we're supposed to be going, We need to actually make sure that we, well, can get there, essentially. Because it could be, it's not dreadfully likely, but players like to cart mobs around all the time. It could be quite a long ways. And standard mob pathfinding in vanilla goes to about 32 blocks. Possibly less, I forget the exact numbers. You can increase it, but there's a point where it just gives up entirely. I think it's like 64 or so. So if hive cost does not equal null, and the changeling dot as parent hive is null, or just not, then the changeling dot set parent hive plus, which is another value we're going to put in here. Obviously, we're also going to have to store this information, but the way that the AI task there is set up, it shouldn't. It should just redistribute itself by the by, anyways. Oh, right. And slowly and surely, he made all of these things work. Now, previously, I don't know how many people here know this, I worked on a project that was known as Yolk Dwarves. Very, very out of scope project. I did a lot there that I probably should have scaled back considerably on. I don't know if I'm better at that these days, but we hope. And one of the major things that I had with that particular project was that there would be no managing entity. So any semblance of organizational structure was derived from the dwarves themselves, not from some kind of Overwatch kind of entity object that was just like invisible but nonetheless managing everything, which is how things are usually managed in video games. There's generally some kind of director at work. The Changelings do not have that because it is huge, it is buggy, and it is a massive pain in the neck to implement, to say the least, let alone update. So pretty much all of the events and goings on of Changeling hives is managed by the hives themselves. So because we can find all nearby changelings by looking for entities nearby that's extend from iChangeling, we just have to do a quick scan for that. We found all the changelings, and then the hive can tell them all to do different things. So say the hive has a storage room that's detected there's sufficient items in, they can tell a changeling to go there and grab some of the items, and then take them to the ritual room, where they will then group together and sacrifice them in order to enhance the size of the rift, that kind of thing. Or it can tell them to go to an area where the structure hasn't been completed yet, and they'll just build some blocks around it, that kind of thing. It's not going to be a case of individual changelings have problems and they're telling they're telling a job listings board what's going on. Hungry but you don't have anything good? Oh dear. Can you order pizza? Is that a thing? Just ate 10 pixie sticks? Why? Why was this a thing you determined? Now munching on stale crackers. All I have is peanut M&Ms here. Like, that's just something I keep on my desk for munching. That and occasionally Pocky. One after the other and didn't notice how many it was until after you counted the wrappers. Oh dear. Okay, so the navigator has its own individual thing, so we can ask it what the search range is. The maximum distance that the pathfinding will search in. There are other algorithms you can use to get path routes. I know that they've been implemented before. An obvious one that I can name is Techtopia by Tango Tech. He implemented a brand new pathfinding AI. Well, pathfinding AI. Yeah, I should know better to say that. He implemented a brand new pathfinding algorithm for his villagers in order to get them to really push the limits on distance and such. So, if it is greater than the distance from the mob to that, to our hive position, then we want to say we should teleport. Now, I could say teleport some of the distance and then walk the remainder, but there's almost no guarantee that we'll be able to find passage like that. But it's probably worth a shot, so bleh, why not? Else the path equals the navigator. Help if I can type. There we go. Get path to block position, hive position. So if not should teleport and the path equals no, then return false. But if we should teleport or the path isn't null, then we can do that. Okay. I told you I like my voice a lot? I mean, a lot of people have said that, historically. A lot of people have said a lot of things historically to me, and about me. Okay. Public void. Update. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Or is that a different name to the one I'm thinking of? On update, is that it? It's been a little bit of a while since I had to program one of these. And they keep changing the names of them as well. So you start executing, update task. There you are. Okay, so if we should teleport, randomly select position from which we can path to the hive. If no point found, reset. This is why lying is an Andes Candies. Purr, you're making all manner of references tonight, and I'm understanding very little of them. Okay, otherwise, if the path does not equal null, then we just want to just set the path to the navigator. So path would be the path, speed, 1.0. Just the usual speed we get things to wander at. And we also need an should continue updating. Which in our case is the navigator.hasPath, or no path in this case. So as long as we're moving, And ideally we don't have an attack target, I guess is also a possibility. So get attack target equals no. There we go. Permission to post a link? One second. As soon as I have to type out your entire long name. There. Probably this should be inside of start updating, or start task. That's what Andy candies are? Chocolate mints? That, I swear I've had something similar to those. At the very least, they do look very similar to After Eights. But I'm not familiar. Sweet and velvety with a sharp bite of mint. I don't know how to take that. Entire long name because lying in bed more than such a show. I mean, Purra Purple Lioness has individual capitalized words with underscores in between them. There's a lot more there. Also, it's dramatically longer than lying in bed mon. So, play. Okay, so let's say that we have 60 attempts to find a position. Just for comedy value, let's make it 69. Why not? So, while minus attempts is greater than 0, and warp pus equals null, randomly apply a modifier to our position. We check to see if that position has like a path according to our navigator to somewhere, to like the point we're looking for. So let's see, path possible path equals the navigator dot. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can't just ask it a specific thing here, so we're going to try and have a look under the hood of path navigate. Because it has a current position and it needs to get a second position. Because there's target position right there. Okay. Yeah, there we are. So it needs a pathfinder. Which is its own little abstract. Oh joy. Okay. Should be able to manage this. Interesting. Ah, because it's protected. That's irritating. Gets up to your other account? I don't even know what your other account is. The only reason there are underscores is because people kept taking up your name. Have you considered just calling yourself Purra then? Okay, what does the Pathfinder do? Pathfinder actually gets points. Okay. XYZ. Aha, there you are. Find path. From to. That's what we're actually looking for, essentially. It's in path points, it's not great, but, you know. Purra is taken, I knew what I did, but underscore at the start. And that's why my Minecraft account is now underscore lying, as opposed to lying in Bedmon, which was sniped by somebody else. But okay, so we need to get access to find path. But we can't do that even if we do create an extension of Path Navigate, because they were fools and made basically everything here hidden. Yeah. It's very annoying, but let's do an initial check, I guess. I hate it when people do that. That's the most annoying thing when you're trying to actually, like, check things out. But okay. Bullet plus the random plus equals... What's our potential range here? How far do we want to say that changelings can teleport? Say 16 blocks? Why not? Might as well store the RNG here because we're going to be recalling it a lot. So if the distance to that is lower than our navigator's range, then we'll just set that as our warp position for the moment. So we're not actually checking for a path yet. But can I set the navigator's
A new
position?
challenger approaches.
Per the void loaf. Oh, I see what you mean. Like, there's get path to position, but it won't actually help me because it's going to be originating from the point before we teleport. So theoretically, I would need to teleport them to that position, remember to teleport them back immediately afterwards, and then I can do that. Hey, Alator. Per the Void Loaf? I mean, there's not capitalization inside of Per the Void Loaf, so there's that. This one technically only exists because you couldn't remember your password for your main account while you were on your laptop. Oh, I see, I see. Hey, Shadow. Cookies acquired? Ooh, enjoy. Ooh, Fin Mints. I have heard tales of Fin Mints. We don't get them here. Hot take, but Fin Mints gross? Oh. Again, I wouldn't know. So, if no path, which we start by clearing out anyways, or the attack target is... If we have a path and the attack target is null, then we continue executing. Otherwise, yeah, we don't really care. So that should be fine. That's not the smartest task I've ever done, but it's there, nonetheless. And then once we're done with that, we just need to warp back, because that's what we have to deal with here. Okay, so if warp position does not equal null, I can already see somebody's gonna end up in a wall here. But it's fine. Okay, so if warp position does not equal null, then we need to teleport our friend. Entity Enderman is always a good reference point for that. Do I need the world? Probably. Technically, I can just reference that directly, but I prefer not to. Do we have Keebler? No. Absolutely not. We do not have Keebler over here. I can tell you that right now. Okay, so that's what you probably... Yes, okay. Here. So if warp position does not equal null, then teleport to warp position dot... Well, warp pulse, it does. Yep, get x plus 0.5d. Warp position dot get y. Warp position get z plus 0.5d. And then the navigator set path. Now we only actually set that value if we find somewhere, so that should be fine. So again, there's not the least bit of guarantee that they won't just teleport into a wall, but it should warp them back fast enough that they don't like take damage. Emphasis on should. And it does it have a current understanding of where it is, or does it actually just reference the entity? That's the next question. Because I see current path, I don't see a current position. We have a target position. So I think we're good. Yeah, I don't see any reference to where it should be. Okay, good. Right. Let's shove that into Entity Changeling up here with our base AI. So, our changelings will try to visit and will occasionally try to visit a nearby hive. Okay, presuming I haven't gotten anything horrifically wrong. It's been a while since we even booted this. Let's find out if I've gotten anything horrifically wrong. Amazon thinks Thin Mints are something you can't say on stream without getting yelled at? Really? Bizarre. Anyways, anybody who has not seen us developing the hives for the changelings up until this point is in for a visual treat. That is for sure. So let's go to Hive 2. Actually, is it Hive 2 or Hive 3? I think I want Hive 3, come to think of it. We had like 3 different eras of hive generation, like development, so I might be going to the wrong one here. Oh no, this is the right one. Grand. Okay. And here at present there are no hives to be worried about, but these are all like test structures, because there's basically 3 different kinds of hive for the changelings. There's the procedural hive, which is done for outside, as well as a version of the procedural hive that is done for underground, and then there is also the interior hive, which is just like, it will consume a structure essentially. So there's this one, and then there's this much bigger one. We're gonna go with this one for right now. Pay no attention to that. So, plump. And there we go. I think that should be about ready. It's currently just searching it out, making sure it knows where everything is. Okay. So now we want to get ourselves a changeling. Just an undisguised changeling, because they're the other ones currently that will actually not... they're the only ones that know this AI task. Did it already go? I know we have... I can hear it. Oh, and it definitely did just teleport. But where did it just teleport to? That is... Why am I not seeing it? That's my question. Where did it just go? I can hear it. Can't see it in any fashion, but I can hear it. What is going on here? That's new. I might see the problem. I think. I think it's a data manager thing. Okay, right. Well, at least we found that problem out. We can also hear them teleporting to get there, so that's good. Let's see, what did you try to say there? Gee, I wonder why Moobot might have thought you were trying to post a link there, Pura, considering that what you said later includes .co.uk. Yep. Looks to be part of the NT checker here. Okay. I could have sworn that that was exactly what I was doing here. Or was it that it was a null pointer, I guess? That's... I guess that is a thing. Okay. Optional. Give me an example of that, kindly. Ender crystals. Yeah, that'll do. Probably gonna have to change that for everybody else, but this is the only one that currently uses it, so not that huge of a concern. There you are. Okay. Okay, and the set. Surely there's a set right there. Yep. I don't think that's what Moobot was being, Pura. Definitely not. Okay, now you should understand. So, yeah, should return a null there, so bleh, off we go. Attempt number 2, let's see if we can actually do this without rendering our test units completely indecipherable. Of course, this data is not actually being stored in our changeling currently, so every single time we boot this, they're gonna have a different hive. Well, they're gonna have no known hive position. Wait. Okay. Well, there you are. Hi. So because it's within range of your sensor, of your search range, you're not actually able to teleport. But let's see, what is your search range by default? Let me quickly check. Rave changeling, oh, it's been, yeah, it's trying to path, but they can't actually get a path there. So let's see, path navigates. What is your default search range? It's the follow range of shared monster attributes, which by default is 32 blocks. Okay. So, TP at E, type equals borrowed. Blip. Changeling. Positive X, so let's say negative 32. Blip, blip. Bonk. I think it might actually be the door that's messing it up. There we go. Ended up on the roof. Yeah, it's trying. Except it shouldn't be picking a position it can't then path from. So there's a problem. Also, what this currently looks like in here is not dreadfully much, but I actually just get rid of this for. Thank you. If I get rid of this, they'll just slowly die off and whatnot. But in here, it just looks like it's providing a full coating, and it is, but it's doing quite a bit more than that. Yeah, there we go. It's time to die out. Yep. I should probably give you the capacity to use doors, shouldn't I? It's doing a lot of complex calculations. It's using these creep blocks as a means of calculating a total volume. From there, it is determining rooms, locations, and such that it can use. And from there, it is actually assigning functions to different areas. So one part of this room might be turned into a hatchery, another part might be turned into a storage. That kind of thing. So it's teleporting at most 16 blocks at a time. But evidently is still having trouble finding a means of accessing the Eep. A means of accessing the hive position. Obviously, we don't actually have a test currently for whether there is still a hive at the parent position, so that's something we need to add, because right now he's trying to go to a hive that doesn't exist. But hey, we're doing well here. Right, so now because it wasn't saved, you shouldn't have any known hive position. So in a hot mo, you should actually try to go over to that one, over there. What do people think of the model, by the way? Obviously it's not textured yet, but you can kind of get an idea of what is what. The cape always makes it, the like wings always look like a cape from the front, so it makes me think of like a superhero. Come on. Are you telling me you can't find anything within like 32 blocks? Gee, was there was a point. Did we... What were our initial like scan criteria? If you don't have a parent hive, we check all of the loaded ones for all of that, so okay, you should be fine. Yeah. No? Being relatively disobedient here. You'll never forget the source material, hence you'll always laugh at it, but otherwise it's very well done. Good to know. Good to know. It's not gonna necessarily look like the source material, but nonetheless. Look at your data here. I'm not seeing anything. I would suggest you've actually written it to data. Unless let's spawn a new one. So we can know for absolute certain. So we haven't seen him teleport into a wall yet. Granted, there's not very much wall, but he could have gone straight down into the ground. Now, of course, we could also make them actually teleport much more than 16 blocks. But I like the idea that, like, you pin them in and then they keep getting out somehow and wandering back through your base or something. No? None of you? Interesting. You were having so much, like, fun trying to get there before. Oh, we have some speciation inside of here. So here we have 2 points where some eggs would be laid, another one there. Over here we have a couple of essentially pots that changelings could put items in later. I wonder if the hive itself is messing with your pathfinding. Like, you're well within range to just wander over to that right now. Are you going to at any point? No, you are having pathfinding issues. Okay, that's a thing we're gonna have to try and figure out then. But I'll do that in a few minutes. And welcome back, everybody. So we're clearly having some trouble with our changelings. So, first thing we're gonna have to do is quite terrible. We're gonna have to make sure there's only one of them in that test world. And then we're gonna add some QA to this. So we're gonna stick in some sysouts and see at what step it is failing. And I have a sneaking suspicion it is related to the collision box of the actual creep. So we'll see how that goes. Boy, I hope Twitch actually makes me gain some kind of revenue from channel points, but oh well. So, yeah, we've got a fella in here that seems to be having some difficulty navigating. So all of these other fellas gets to go for the time being, because if we have more than one, when we put some sysouts into the AI task, they'll 100% just spam the chat and we'll have no idea what's going on. Okay. Good, only the one. Now you do seem to be moving around decently well, but you're not actually able to path through the creep, and I think that's interfering with the actual navigation here. Can give you swished shamble, I'm not complaining. You were doing rough Randy. Oh, dropped 3 mechanoid clusters back to back and then dumped the third in your production area. Oh, ow. I am so sorry. Okay, so is there a point where we set the warp position before we know if that can actually work? Ah, we do have a point here where the path is just getting set from different positions. That might be what's going wrong here. There, so now we know those are actually 2 linked values. But let's just set up some changes here. So system upper inline, checking for hive visit. Visiting parent hive plus hive boss, so we know where that is. Visiting new hive. Okay. I should move this up to here, really. Just for at least the time being. Just because otherwise we'll get a ton of messages. Okay, let's see what kind of messages we get here. Our goal is to see our changeling try to move to the position of the rift, which is in currently the like crafting table. That's the word. Phrase exactly. So I'll give you guys the game view, and I'll just keep an eye on the console and see what we get here. Okay. Checking for hive visit, visiting new hive block position, allowing for teleport, warping to that block position. Pretty much directly, actually. Interesting. And yet, here he sits. Visiting parent hive, allowing for teleports, teleporting again pretty much directly, so he can't actually navigate over this. And since there's no point where the path is actually found, it's not actually able to do anything past that. I think. Yeah, so he can't navigate across this. Okay. So this unfortunately links back to an extremely old and long-standing Minecraft bug, which is that mobs that aren't on top of full blocks have a lot of trouble navigating. So the question is, how do we resolve this? The first option, I think, is to just remove the bottom collision part of the creep, which I don't know if I necessarily like too much, because I like that we are slightly higher on creep than not, but needs must, I guess. The interesting thing is it's actually doing the stuffs, it's just not actually continuing on. Just make sure that's there. So as long as warp position is null, it will continue going through that, and if it finds one, it will try to, well, every time it finds a position, it'll check if it's in the search range, and then it'll try to see if there's a path from there to the hive position. If there is, and then it sets the warp position, and it comes out of this, and that's all that. Okay. Plonk that there. Okay, so block, hive, creep. And you want to get the bounding box or the collision box? That's the one. So let's just comment that out, we'll never get it.
Hug Rose and Carol both carrot W carrot.
Carrot W, that's what that's called. That's what the okay, fine. For 100 bits, which I do actually make some degree of profit of, yay. Teeny tiny Rose. It's kind of the baby of the office. Just sort of gets lumped between people. Huh. Okay. So if we just comment that out, then we'll never get the verticals. Which, strictly speaking, will mean that you can fall directly through them if they somehow connect to something at the bottom that isn't otherwise, like, its thing, but hopefully that's not a huge concern. It'll still render it, at least. Let's see how badly that interferes with the pathing now. Pretty sure you've commented on upwards arrow, well, power being carrots. I don't think so. Okay, still having trouble navigating. I think. It's a little hard to tell. So, checking the server, no, the console, let's see what we get here. It's only 1 in 50 checks right now, so consequently it's not happening all the time. Visiting parent hive. Allowing for teleport, visiting hive. That should be... Will it? Okay. Yeah, you're definitely still having some teleport troubles. Or some having troubles. Visiting parent hive. Allowing for... Every single time it's allowing for teleport. It shouldn't be. It should be ignoring all of the, stuffs here. Why did you walk it to there? That's the question. TP 927 for 1646 is the correct location. Okay, I think it might lie slightly on how we are teleporting around a bit. Not 100%. And that doesn't appear to have, like, actually making it, not know about that does not appear to have helped. So... we can presumably just comment out all of these and see if that helps it at all. So they just have no collision. Let's see how that looks. I wonder if this is related to vines and such. And we can check the path navigate. Just ask it, like, what do you classify as being a problem here? So let's see. Manhattan distance. Just getting a bunch of distance there. Find path options. I'm not saying a reference to a world, strangely enough. You'd think that would be there. Yeah, there's not really any message on, interesting. Just as confused then as you are today. Wow. You classify Dusty as a problem? Where? Did I miss something? What was really referring to? The question here is, how much do I have to pull out before they're able to actually pathfinder with this thing? Oh, come on. You were so close there, too. You were so close. Well, you got there. That's a start. Jump for joy, you finally made it. But it still allows for teleports. Why is it saying allowing for teleport every single time? That doesn't make sense. Bye. Path search range. Oh, yeah, I need to be... It's because that should be the opposite of what it currently is. Path search range greater than the distance to there. It's just always going to do that. Okay. So I see what was happening with that part at the very least. Need food, but you also don't want to. You should probably get some food. Marsh. Like, you guys literally have, like, a chat command that tells me to drink now, so you might as well take care of yourselves as well. I think I will cause problems on purpose. Is that not just the modern equivalent of I aim to misbehave? Okay, Dusty, so Purr will just eat half of you. Are you back over here? Are you outside? Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay, well, you're checking it, but you're not actually able to evidently do anything. It's a shorter distance than your search range, so you should be able to check it. I presume it just wasn't able to find a path there. Hooray! You found it. And you're somehow standing? Or is that just because there's some calculations going on at the moment? I think that's calculations, yeah. The hives are very laggy, so they're designed to be as, they're designed to be as, like, conservative as they can be. Frugal. But part of it is not necessarily, like, as frugal as it could be. But okay, let's bring you to further away. Which direction am I facing here? I am facing positive X. So, next time you're gonna have to try and teleport, I think. Allowing for teleports. But you weren't able to find somewhere. Dab has limited stock. Oh yeah. Well, you're making your way there, that's for sure. I probably do want to increase your follow range. Just because 32 is pretty minimal, really. But it does have an upper limit. What is the upper limit of search range? Let's find out. Shared monster attributes. Follow range is capped out at 2048. But I think Pathfinders don't even go that high. Like, I'm pretty sure they stopped way before 2048, that's for sure. What is the thing? Innate entry attributes, I think? Let's find out. No! Apply entity attributes, that's the one. And then I think zombies have a 64 for their follow range. Yep. Really? 55? I thought it was much more than that. I thought zombies were like 64. Or is that a more recent version? Who knows? How many points for me to pour the drink on myself? Considering that I make absolutely no money from channel points, they're in the number high enough. Also, depending on what I was wearing and pouring, I feel like that would probably end up being bad for Twitch terms of service. just as an idea. You have a dial on your keyboard and you haven't a clue what it is. My guess would be volume control. But okay, come on. We need to try and get these guys actually working, like, able to move through their own hives. That's kind of a significant functional requirement of a house, as it were. Navigability for whomever lives there. What's the old thing of, somebody asks for, like, a dial to go to 11. An ethical engineer will create a dial that goes to 11. A smart engineer will say, for $500 more, I can make you one that goes to 12. Okay, are you visiting the hive? You apparently are visiting and allowing for teleport. But, can't quite tell. So teleports can still fail. It's a theoretical failure state there. So let's see if it'll go. Appears to be visiting. And away you go. And you've now had trouble navigating, I think. I should make it teleport, like, whether or not you actually have the... teleport if it's beyond range or you can't path. Whoop. Are we doing it? Are we doing it? We got close. You got pretty heckin' close there, my dude. I feel like you still have troubles, though. Grats. Grats. Okay, yeah, there's definitely some troubles, I think. And that's with all of the collision turned off for creep. That was such a, but parent, I don't want to come inside, I want to play a little more. Oh? What did I say? Oh, the changing was hesitating before going through the rift. Yeah, fair. So it still thinks that's never gonna get there? Right, yes, I can kind of see that now. If path equaled null, then we would teleport. So if search range is shorter than the distance to that from the mob, then teleport. If we don't have a path to it from our current position, teleport. And otherwise, just set the path to be that path. Okay. Teleport's code looks... Teleport code obviously works. We can see that part. That's no worries right there. So then we go for all of this, and all of that seems fine, except for the teleporting, I guess, point. It's just looking for the first place it can find that actually has access to where we want to be. So it doesn't really care if it's the closest place it could teleport to that will get it access to the hive. It's just looking for the first random place it can find. Which might mean that it ends up teleporting like 3 floors up instead of like through the solid wall to its left, but oh well. We can fine-tune that if we see fit to do so. Welcome back, Marsh. So what can we do to improve this now? That is the question. Well, the next thing, of course, we can do is give this to all of the changelings. Like, that's an obvious thing. So let's get a bunch of livestock in here. Or livestock impersonators, I guess? should probably just make a function for this, because it's gonna be... We're gonna be doing that one a lot. That will also save me a bunch of trouble later. What? Black... You have blackcurrant jam toast sandwich, sound nice, not that I've ever had... You've never had blackcurrant? Really? Huh. It's like my favorite thing. It's like my favorite kind of jam. It is literally my jam. Okay, so now I can just go into iChangeling and say, here are all of the tasks I want to be universal across all the changelings. Just stick them in there. So iChangeling is the only thing I need to change. Ling, I guess. Okay. Let's see how the other changelings do. Really, really dark purple? Yeah, that's so nice. Yeah, I think the carpet-like collision of the creep is interfering with pathfinding a bit. But that's a perennial that's a perennial problem of all of Minecraft, so it's a little hard. Someone's playing Cookie Clicker on stream? I thought the whole point of Cookie Clicker was to automate it so you weren't clicking. So let's see, villager, cow, horse, pig, sheep, and most recently, the chicken. And there's a problem that I forgot that I hadn't fixed. Which is that their data managers don't properly have the right thing. Because I fixed that in Entity Changeling, I hadn't yet fixed that in everything else. So consequently they are invisible and not technically existing. Definitely need to universalize some more of this code, honestly. Network error? Oh dear. Hope that's not something on my end. We ran into that problem like the first time I booted it with this new AI task. I should have seen that coming. In your family, apricot jam is called debt. Okay. Oh, meds? Yes, if anybody has not taken any meds that they have been officially prescribed or need otherwise to treat ongoing illnesses such as the flu, absolutely go take your meds. Also remember to eat and drink and be merry, ideally. Be merry within your present capacity of being merry. Failing that, be Pippin. Because, you know, next best thing. Well, looks like everybody went inside. I keep forgetting that it's shift to crouch and control to sprint, which is, I think, the complete opposite of Space Engineers, which I've been playing a lot of recently. Okay. Despite appearances, these are all in fact changelings. Now the weird thing is they shouldn't teleport unless they can actually get a path to their destination. And yet... Not to worry, this all seems quite bizarre. It's significantly more normal if I do this. I'm guessing that's the villager over there, judging by the size and the bipedal locomotion. And that, of course, is the sheep. Because we haven't fixed that yet. There's just a woolly changeling walking in. Ah, what strangeness we get up to. So it's not everybody. The pig and the horse, I'm guessing, are still over here. Yeah, I evidently need to make it a bit lighter, but there's a limit to how lighter I can make the tile entity, because it still has to find the largest possible cube in order for the thing to work. And now everything seems perfectly normal again. Odd that. Yeah, so they're okay just wandering around it, but they evidently have some problems following the path that, like, their teleporting sets them to. Which is very odd, and I presume that's because of how we're testing given positions for a, like, access route. But that'll take me a hecking long time to figure out, longer than I currently have tonight. So, hope you've enjoyed this initial look at getting the changelings working. I can tap them into the actual handlers and everything much later. How was one supposed to take 60 milligrams of 40 milligram capsules, cut one in half, and then take half on one of the other ones? I guess it depends on how it's constructed, but consult your doctor. I'm not a physician. I don't even have a doctorate. I only have a bachelor's. But anyways, this bizarre sight is what I have for you tonight, guys. So hope you've all enjoyed. My next stream is, in fact, tomorrow at 7 PM GMT. We have some more Dungeons and Dragons, where I get to continue playing my robot that can see the future. Dungeons and Dragons, it's a heck of a thing. And then on Thursday at 9, we have some more Monster Hunter World, and then on Friday at 9, we have some more Dead by Daylight. And at 7 on Saturday, we have the Dungeons and Dragons that I am the DM of, followed by, at 9 PM, some random games, just discussing what's been going on throughout the week and such, and we'll be back for more of this next Tuesday at 9. So, Meanwhile, I do in fact make some videos over at youtube.com/remembercomic, and everything I do is powered by people like you at Patreon at patreon.com/lying. Hope you've all enjoyed, and as ever, catch you all next time.